Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the Paralenz third-person viewer. I've got it attached to the Vaquita camera at the moment. So this is basically, effectively, it's a selfie stick in that you can use it as a traditional selfie stick to do that kind of photo, but it's almost like an autonomous one. It's designed so that you clip it onto a D-ring on your BCD, and then it basically follows you from behind, recording you the whole way, so that you can get footage of yourself when you're in the water, swimming through the water. So it's quite clever. It's a little bit different, and it means that you don't need your buddy to be focused on you all the time because you basically are doing it all by yourself. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so this is how it arrives. So third-person viewer, a nice cardboard box, very eco-friendly, made for the Paralenz Vaquita. That is a very important statement. So if you didn't know the previous version, the Dive Camera Plus, I think they called it, similar but different mounting options for it. So accessories like this that are made for the Vaquita, they're not going to fit the previous version, and the previous version accessories aren't going to fit the Vaquita. So that is important to make sure that you get the right one for the camera that you have. On the back, diving from a whole new perspective, tells you a little something about the third-person viewer, a QR code that I imagine just takes you to the website. Minimum distance, so shortest you can get it 30 centimeters. As you can see, box itself isn't particularly large, so traveling with it isn't going to be a huge issue. And then you can adjust it to 100 centimeters, 120, and all the way up to 180 centimeters, which is 70 inches, so really long. The head, the mount itself that you put the camera on, that can rotate 180 degrees, so you can use it as a kind of a pokey stick to kind of look around a corner or something without getting too close to something, or you can use it to record yourself in the water, a bit more like a selfie stick. Two floaters go on either side of the camera. This is when you're using it in that sort of third-person mode, just to hold the camera up so it doesn't just sink down to the lowest point. Carbon fiber telescopic pole attaches to the underside, and then that's what's inside of the box. So on the inside, nothing interesting on the inside of the sleeve. There's a funky picture of what looks like a clamshell or something. Okay, inside the box. Okay, so you get the stick itself, and these are the two floaters. Something should be in there, but it's fallen out. Something should be in there, but it's fallen through. Yep. So we have the two floaters. So these go on either side of the camera, and I presume they're sort of angled so that they sort of hold it in the right position. These little sort of clippies, they look like they just clap onto there and hold on. Four of those, 4 attachment points. Stainless steel bolt snap, pretty decent action on that, and a decent size eye. And then a lanyard, so a very secure lanyard, because you're supposed to sort of attach this onto your, you click it onto a D-ring on your BCD, you then sort of have it all sort of outstretched on this sort of bungee, and then it sort of follows you from behind. So very secure. The bungee itself is fairly stiff compared to a lot of other bungees, so it's going to hold its position, but if it does need to sort of flex, it can. They of course recommend that you don't use it in overhead environments, near reefs or wrecks or anything, or even other scuba divers, so it doesn't get in the way and tangle up. But yeah, a pretty secure sort of anchor point on that. The stick itself, so you have their pretty traditional sort of click mount. I'll show you how it works later, and that just wraps over the camera. And then as you unscrew these, everything's very stiff. It's supposed to go in that direction, it says. Yes. So it unscrews, and then you get the telescopic sort of action. So 3 different sections, and then 4 including the handle, and this is all carbon fiber, so it is actually very, very light. And then you push it down, and it's just screw action, just to screw it back into position. And then a little attachment point down at the bottom to attach the split ring to hold it in. Okay, so yeah, let's attach it onto a camera and see what it looks like. Okay, so I've got my Vaquita camera. We're going to sort of assemble it. Actually, on closer inspection, I actually noticed there's an extra section. So previously, I unscrewed the main sort of section that got it to go that long, but that's not 1.8 meters, is it? You actually have another section down here. If you unscrew the main sort of head of it, you can unscrew it, and there's even more to this pole, which, yeah, that is almost 2 meters long. So yeah, if you really do want that POV shot of all of you, then yeah, you really do have a really long selfie stick. Or if there's something particularly dangerous, like an angry dive master, and you want to record it, yeah, you can do it from a safe distance. But if you don't want the entire length of it, you can sort of concertina it down, and these sections do collapse down into themselves and then screw down into position. Okay. So assembling it onto a camera is pretty simple. So you have the click mount on the very end. The head itself has a sort of a ratchet style system, so you can rotate it around and then that holds it in position. You have this little screw here, which is pretty sort of standard tripod screw, which you can unscrew. You can then sort of unscrew that, but if it's at the sort of angle that you want it to be at, you screw it in and that kind of locks it in at that angle. Attaching it onto the camera, so you have these two little hooks, two on each side. That then goes on the bottom, and then you basically push it until it clicks. If you're using the floats as that 3D viewer, it's worth moving it a little bit further up the torch, because the clamps for the floats have to go either side of it. And then you basically lift and push until it clicks. Then you use this section, this kind of elastic bungee section, to hook it over and then just hold it into position. So that's just a sort of a redundant backup. The clip itself, the camera isn't gonna go anywhere. That's a pretty secure clip, but if you got this as well, it's definitely not gonna go anywhere as long as you've attached it properly. Now with the floats, so these go either side of the camera. So this is if you're using it as a third-person viewer to watch yourself or record yourself. Now you have these two little lugs on either side, or on one side of either of these floats. These two sections here. Now the important thing is that these, once they're on, they're really hard to get off, so make sure that you put them on the right way the first time round. All it is you basically just push it and it clicks into position, but there are two little, it's almost like a duckbill valve. Once it's on, it's really tough to get off, so make sure that you do it the right way the first time. And then when you're attaching it, very similar to the main mount, you basically sort of loop it over, sorry, other side, loop it under at the bottom, and then push till these little tabs lock into position. And that's it. So that when it's in the water, this positive buoyancy is going to sort of cancel out the negative buoyancy of it, and it basically holds that camera in position. You obviously have to use both, but for brevity, I'm just going to use one, and the other one will just sit on the other side like that. Okay, so that's the Paralenz third-person viewer, a very clever sort of twist on the sort of selfie stick culture, in that, yeah, you can record yourself swimming sort of whilst you're not holding onto it. Yeah, the construction is pretty good. The carbon fiber body makes it incredibly lightweight, so this is going to be nothing to throw in your kit bag. And yeah, it just comes. It just gives you that little bit of sort of a different camera angle to sort of record yourself in the water, but you can also use it as a traditional camera. It's yeah, it's quite clever. The one thing is, obviously, especially when you're using it with the tether and the selfie stick itself at full length, it's going to be pretty big in the water. So as all the warnings on the box say, only use it in open blue water with sort of no one else really around, so you're not going to sort of get entangled or whatnot. But yeah, after you're done using it, you concertina it down and it comes sort of quite small. So yeah, There's going to be far more information on our website, simplyscuba.com, to check it out. There'll be a link down in the description below. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.